should see the Spaniards. There's Todd Wells, the big frame of the tall man from the US. Todd Wells on the 2-9er in the red, white and blue jersey of the USA. And he's looking very strong indeed, starting from position 19. Certainly not a rider to discount at this point for a podium. He's definitely on the charge.
Some prize money, some raising for one of the schools as well, the Timbini school.
So we're back now to the amphitheatre, and it is a far point on the circuit, but still a lot of spectators out there to watch. You can see a lot in this part of the course. You see them come through the feed zone and then twist their way up the hill and then down the descent. And be interesting to see if Schurter once again descends strongly in the rock garden. And he is a great descender. He won the Avalanche Cup in Flims in Switzerland, actually beating Julian Absalon's brother Remy, who's a specialist in that kind of sport, the marathon downhill, I guess you call them, and mass start races. And so obviously very proficient in the downhill. But as predicted by Jose Hermida, there'll be a lead group of 5 or so. He's not too far wrong. He's the 4th in this first group we see now. We see, there he is. So we have 4 now in the feed zone. That's going to cheer up Jose Hermida. He can see them just in front, and while they're messing around and watching each other, he's able to grab some precious seconds, joined by UCI technical delegate Simon Burney as we watch this fascinating race. And it's pretty much as Jose said, a top group of 5.
It is, yeah. There's nothing seriously hard on the course to split these guys apart.
I must not be in a burial these guys.
You see, Absalon likes to take the lead in a lot of the climbs, then Schurter will jump in front for the descent. Here, no, not so much, but in the rocky garden that we see after the rock garden, and then Kulhavi's just such a big powerhouse of a rider that he just sort of stamps his power down on the flat. So slightly different styles, but they're all still together. And you see now Hermida so close to being on the back now. So we're going to have a group of 4, and then it's a matter of whether or not we can see Fontana come up. We just saw him go through on the bottom of the screen. I'm just wondering whether or not Fontana's expended too much energy to try and get to this group. I thought he might be able to get up with Hermida and work together, but Hermida seems to have been able to do it on his own. You'll see in this shot clearly as they come through the left-hander. No, he's not quite there yet.
He tends to drift off a little bit, but when he goes fast, he goes as fast as these guys. He's good.
Absolutely, as we see now Hermida take that bottom hairpin to the left, and he's got a good clear view of the riders in front, and I don't think it's going to be too much time indeed before he's on the back of Kulhavi's wheel. But yeah, I was mentioning before that Fontana got 5th in the Olympics, the last Olympics in Beijing. It's something that's not often remembered. Everyone remembers the medals, but 5th, not a bad effort at all. And he also got a bronze medal in the team relay in 2008, but his World Cup podiums, not so many. I think 3rd in the European Championships last year, and he's been wearing that Italian national champions jersey for quite some time, obviously the best in Italy, and someone that can be a threat, as you say, but if he blows up too early in this race, it could be well and truly over for him. Plate number 26 going through is that's Martin Dujan, the Swiss rider. He was riding with Ralph Naft before, and we'll just see if he's managed to hold that. That's the well, that's Christoph Sauser going through, I think, there. So he had a terrible start, Christoph Sauser. Front row back to 35th on lap 1, and he just looked like he was exhausted on lap 1, but it might have just been a too quick a start for him. But he seems to have found his legs now.
It was a full gas start. It was so fast. That first half lap was amazing, and I think yes, I think Susie's explosive days have gone. I think he's turned into a bit of a diesel, and I think his marathon results kind of back that up. But he's still got the strength to come through in the last half hour or so, but certainly not to the front of the race.
He picked up 7 places in the last lap, so he's definitely finding his legs and moved up into the top 30, but I don't think we're seeing a podium ride from him here today. He did do very well here 2 years ago, but as you say, so he's a bit of a change in his racing now and what he specialises in, and but still, he had a great end of 2010, and you can never really count him out any season. So perhaps it was just that explosive start that caught him unawares. The Cape Epic doesn't really start that quickly. There's Fontana going through now. I think he needs a bit of help. I think he needs someone to join him and work together. He's doing a lot on his own. As they're coming down through the rock garden, there we see Schurter, like clockwork, on the inside, passes Absalom, does it so easily, and gets a good few bike lengths gap on him. So he's already leaving the building as Absalom hits the bottom, and Kulharvi. There's Hermida now. We can see the photographer's getting set up. Looking a little bit awkward there, but through nicely. And now we see Fontana. So Fontana finding himself in a tricky position, riding the lefty fork, and he's got a... Oh, he rode that beautifully.
That was great.
Yeah, rode that beautifully. So he's picked up a little bit of time just on that section alone on Hermida, and he looked very comfortable. If you're tired in the upper body, you can't ride like that through that section. So he's still looking pretty strong.
I watched Absalom training in this section earlier in the week, and he was having all sorts of difficulty on the left-hand turn halfway down. Just couldn't get it right. Couldn't keep any momentum going to get over those rocks. Yeah. It flattens out there, and the rocks are still too big to get a pedal rev in, so he's really struggling.
You see Todd Wells now splitting the Spanish up, so he's getting right up to the mix in the top 10 now. Stefan Tempia, the Bianchi rider, also doing pretty well here today. And I was quite impressed by Lejarreta. You see him right at number 22. Was getting passed there by Stander, but Lejarreta, rider that isn't always at the front of the field. But wait and see if they went out too early. Plate number 21 coming down. Carlos Coloma, the other Spanish. Well, yeah, you cannot stop right in the middle of that. You're going to have all sorts of trouble. So Lucas Flukiger almost going over the handlebars there again. The two brothers now trying to pick up some time as they get into the second half of the race. So I think, you know, we saw both Matthias and Sousa suffering on that first lap. But such an explosive start. They both had the first line that meant they could warm up to the last minute. But it was just such a dramatically fast start, and it can catch you unawares.
Absolutely. I think never has the term momentum is your friend has been more applicable than this section here. I think if you lose your speed, you just stop dead and you never get going again.
Well, if we were to look at the strongest nations in the top 20, it would have to be Switzerland and Spain right now, as Ivan Gutierrez came through in position 19. So the Spanish and the Swiss really more than nearly half or more of the top 20. So two nations dominating the top 20 right now, and as we were saying before, the Olympic points, the world rankings for nations, so important. So many national teams here, everyone trying to score points to get up to that ranking. At what point is it decided, Simon, how many nations, how many places each nation get? What date is that?
December 31st this year. That's the last world ranking of the year, and that'll take into account all the big races this year, and then the points from this year get added to the points from last year, and make a nation table, and then the places are allocated based on those positions.
So 2 years of scoring points, and at the end of this year, how many nations get 3? It's 5, isn't it? So
in the men's, yeah, five nations get 3 places, and then the next, I think it's down to 12th nation get 2 places, and then down to 20th, 22nd get 1 place.
So now we're coming up to the end of lap number 3, and we have our 3 leaders all together under the bridge, and they'll be coming round to head out with 3 laps to go. So we're exactly at halfway distance, which looks like to be, let's see, we're going to be running
1:35.
Yeah. So right on target for the new race distances for 2011, between 1:30 and 1:45. So through they go now with 3 laps to go. Our leaders, Nino Schurter, Julian Absalon, Yaroslav Kulharvi, all together within a second. And it looks like those 3 have managed to get a gap on Hermida. I thought he was a lot closer than that, and he's going to get Fontana coming up to him very shortly. Now, if those 2 can work together, it may help the case. But I'm surprised to see Hermida drop so much since we last saw them on camera. I was wondering if something else has happened there, whether he's had a fall or done something, or had certainly a bit of a gap there.
I think just 3 or 4 seconds on those technical sections soon adds up. We've only got to mess it up a couple of times, and suddenly there's 6 or 8 seconds gone, and it's only, still only 25 seconds down, and it's 18 seconds down. So you don't need to stall very often on the rock section for it to lose those handful of seconds.
And a lot of riders here, wanting to get a great result here because it makes a difference now. You get the top 8, you're the last rider called up to the front row, and front row starts are so critical for the starts anyway. So this is our first race, and it will decide the start order for Dolby Forest in, is it 4 weeks from now, Simon?
4 weeks today.
4 weeks today. So our next broadcast will be in 4 weeks from Dolby Forest. A venue I didn't get to thanks to an Icelandic volcano, but I'm looking forward to going to see. I love greenfield sites. There are a lot of big challenge for organisers, but it brings sort of
flying
that
over the rock
mountain
garden.
biking out there in the greenfield. And you guys did an amazing job there in Dolby Forest last year. Very keen to see that venue. As we see, Jose Hermida descending so smoothly there. There is a big difference between some of these riders.
Is Fontana going to reach the gap? Can they work together?
And we really have to be thankful that the weather's on our side today, because that can be very, very difficult. We see a lot more people using the chicken line.
Fontana is picking it up nicely.
Yeah,
on
this
that
ground,
Cannondale.
incredibly slippery.
That's your top 5.
It's a clay base, and it just fills the tyre treads up, and you end up with a slick tyre, and it's just like riding on ice.
And of course it could happen. It happened last week, and it was a really difficult race won by Flukiger over Kulharvi. Lucas Flukiger over Kulharvi, and really difficult conditions. So hard to see.
Might have been a drop chain. Todd Wells' teammate coming through now.
Couldn't even see their jerseys. Head to toe in mud.
A different 6 days now.
Incredible. There's another planet there right now. As we're watching our leaders come through, let's pick up some of the positions for you as they came through. Barry Stander was in 6th after Fontana. Lejarreta was still holding well there in the top 10 as Todd Wells moved up. No, he stayed in position 8. So Todd Wells in position 8, holding steady with Stefan Tempier, who's moved into the top 10, the Pinecki rider. And Manuel Fumik dropping back a few spots. The Flukigers moving up together. They're going to start in on Carlos Coloma in position 11, Dujan and Lichert. So we've got 4 Swiss riders there together. Flukiger, Dujan,
having a little
Lichert,
brown Fanta on the sideline. Good to see him here enjoying it.
Maxime Marot in 17th.
Kilian through, Razafa through, Fanga through.
Gutierrez. And then we see another Swiss rider, Galati. Patrick Galati sitting in 19th now, cracking the top 20 as well, as Jeff Kabush holding steady in position 20. Florian Vogel going backwards now in position 21. That's a bit of a surprise for me. And Sauser moving up towards him. So Ralph Knapp also in position 22. I expect a little bit more from Ralph this weekend, but he's obviously having a tough one.
I wouldn't want to pick the Swiss Olympic team.
No,
glad that's not my job.
Talking about that earlier, there's got to be 8 to 10 guys now with Galati and Lichert coming into the picture. That's really going to make it tough for them.
World-class athletes.
And as we were speaking before, it's not the best 50 in the world that go, it's the best nations, and due to Olympism, as is the term, countries, continents like Africa and Asia get the opportunity to participate as well. So there's our leaders holding the number board order 1, 2, 3. We've seen them swap around a lot. Now it's Nino Schurter taking the lead, and it won't be long before we see Julian Absalon take that lead, and then perhaps Kulharvi will take the lead as well. They all seem to swap, and it means that they're sharing the work, but it also means they're picking the sections where they want to have the front wheel.
They turn down into the single track now. The medics in place.
If you've got the confidence in the rocky section, you do not want to be following someone that you feel less confident behind. You want to take the lead there, but Schurter, like clockwork, taking the same line. Well, there we are, the 2 riders riding together in 4th and 5th, and this may work to their benefit as they can start to pace each other and take a share of the workload. And of course, Simon, if the top 3 are watching each other and playing games, it also works into their hands.
It does, yeah. No, those 2 could get back up there. It's not inconceivable.
And we have to look back now to position 6, which is the first rider outside of the podium positions, and that should be Barry Stander. It is a group now working together. Barry Stander leading it with the Spaniard Lejarreta sitting right behind him, followed by Todd Wells. Now Todd Wells may, if he's feeling comfortable, decide to try and get past these 2 and make a break for the next group, but it's hard to say. I mean, it'd be great for Todd Wells to get up onto the podium. We haven't seen him there for a long time.
Actually, 6, 7
but,
and 8.
that is a big gap
Barry
to try and
Stander
make
with
up.
Todd Wells at the moment.
I think those first 5 are looking pretty comfortable.
We were half race distance, and you know, mechanicals, we saw quite a few mechanicals in the women's race, mainly to do the drivetrain, and one puncture there with Katarina Nash, but not so many punctures